Yeah, now stand and cheer for your Talking Basketball podcast. Welcome back to this episode. This is the second part of a double header. If you haven't heard the first, go back and listen to it. If you can't be bothered, that's all right. Just keep listening to this one, and hopefully you enjoy it. And don't forget, like and subscribe. I hate it when people say that.
What is the actual court like to play on, incidentally?
Oh, it's really, really good. Yeah, the floor is brilliant. It's got quite a bit of give in it. It's a wooden floor.
We
really,
said the
really
same
good.
thing.
The rings,
It's
the
the
hoops
give,
are
isn't
good. It's one of the best places to play in the Northeast, yeah, if not the best one.
Yeah, when we've stood on NBA courts before, and it's just the spring.
Yeah.
It's like wow, this is this moves. This does.
Yeah, you suddenly can see why they get that sudden bounce off, and
yeah,
definitely. I just wondered what it's like, because when you see all these courts, and Virtu's got a lovely stadium itself, because they've got seating all the way around, haven't they?
Yes.
Because some of the ones we were looking at have got the seating on both sides, but not on the ends.
Yeah.
Which always confuses me. You think, why would you not put seating at the ends? But
well, here you go, Mark. You know,
got the runoff.
Keith is always
always
at the Newcastle Eagles game, so he puts these videos online. That's one of the games, then warming up. But I mean, look at that.
Now
that looks quality, doesn't it?
Keith, I will say, Paul's favourite, you might have heard on some of the podcasts, he loves a hangar, like the aircraft hangar kind of setup. But that looks so similar with the really high ceiling.
Yeah.
What's the atmosphere like when the game's on?
It's really, really good, because it's not too big a space, but I think it seats about 2,800. And most of the BBL games are pretty much sold out. So there's only a handful of seats, if any.
That's going to be getting noisy. That's going to be getting
noisy.
Loud. Yeah. It is loud. And especially during free throws. That encourage a lot of noise during free throws. But only at one end for some reason. I'm not sure why that is.
So does Newcastle Eagles have I want to say a Northern Derby match, but who's the rival that you would say, in your opinion?
The rivalry that goes back quite a number of years is the Leicester Riders. There's always a bit of fireworks with the Leicester Riders, which is strange, because you would think it would be Caledonia, with it being a northern sort of based team. But no, Leicester Riders and Newcastle have got a rivalry that goes back quite a way, apparently.
Well, I think you from when we were digging into the BBL, recently we're looking at it. Certainly, Newcastle and Leicester have been prominent over the last few decades. I guess fighting for the top spots. So guess it makes sense in that respect. But was that a legacy in your playing days? Did you have rivalries back as far as Leicester then, or was it someone different?
Well, in our league, we had a local rival. So at the same time, Newcastle had a team in that was Gateshead, which was literally across the water. So that was the main rivalry, was the Newcastle Gateshead games.
Fantastic. Because we had a memorial game a few months back, didn't we?
For the legend Mickey Byrne. Yeah.
And that was the Portsmouth team versus the Solent Kestrels team, which was nice, having that sort of Solent derby kind of set up. And we want to encourage that sort of thing. We like to encourage that sort of thing. We felt that some of that was missing a little bit in the BBL from what we could see from the outside. There wasn't as obvious matchups as maybe in, say, the NBA. There's certain historic rivalries. We couldn't find the obvious links necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, do you think the BBL will expand like much bigger than it is? Because it's currently 10 teams. I know they're talking about like the Reading Rockets coming in. I think you've got Birmingham team, and then there was a third, wasn't there? I read about a third.
It was.
Or did we just make that up because it was the something Rebels who had 1,000 people?
No, that's something completely different.
I think
that's
there was
the Essex Rebels.
But do you think it's going to expand sooner?
I don't know. It would be good if it did. I think the only constraint is finance for the people coming in. Really,
Yeah.
I can't see it being a cheap operation to do a season in the BBL. So, but it would be nice to have more teams.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when it's National League, I still think there's a lot of what's the word to use? Goodwill. There's a lot of people doing things free, and stuff like that. National League, even up to Div 1, like all the a
lot of volunteers
at the Force. Like I'll do all the music, all the entertainment, all the announcing. If there's we like things like this, like we're not getting anything. We're just doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah.
So when it goes to BBL, then everyone gets paid, is it, or is there still people doing it out of goodwill?
I think there's still quite a lot of volunteers, just to keep the costs down. Because a lot of people just like to get involved just because they love the basketball. So,
yeah.
Excuse me.
And how do you think the Eagles are going to do this year, Keith? Because they're up and down. Like the other day, we were talking about the Lions game. They could have won that. They were up by like 12 with 5 minutes left, and kind of it's that fourth quarter again, isn't it?
Yeah, early season. I think the fourth quarter was an issue because they seemed to be thereabouts for 3 quarters of the game, and then in quarter 4 they just lost the plot. I don't know why, but just when they thought we were getting on track, when they had a few wins, they've gone backwards again. So consistency is an obvious issue, but I think you're going to get that if you've got a bunch of strangers brought in at the beginning of the season, and it takes a while for them to knit together as a team. So we'll see. Time will tell if they can function a bit more as a team and get a bit more consistent. But I would like to see them do well. Yeah.
I'm really keen on seeing the reverse fixture of the Lions coming to the. I'm going to say Eagles Nest because that's what I've been calling it. What's your home court? Is there a nickname for it?
I don't know if it is the Eagles Nest. I'm not sure. It's just the Virtue Motors Arena as far as I know.
Well, I'm generally looking forward to that fixture because it's like, look, someone's dented that crown on the Lions' head. Someone's dented it, and it's like, you know what? The Eagles looked like in the driving seat with 5 minutes going, and then it was just like, what happened?
London didn't win that; they lost it.
Yeah.
That was the thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, we were saying that, and then I was talking to Keith, and he went, "Eagles lost that in the last quarter." I was like, "Yeah, exactly." So Keith, moving on, like, with your FIBA GB playing days now, and there could be a promotion to mascot. What's going on with the mascot? I saw a picture online that said, "Who is this?" And I saw the number, and I went, "Well, I think that's Keith." So I'm going to get the picture up for Mark.
I've got to see that.
You want to see you want to hear the story behind the mascot? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Have you seen it?
I'll just get. Here we go.
Oh,
so what's who's the mascot for?
It's the GB mascot. It's Leroy the Lion.
Leroy the Lion.
But yeah, so he's sometimes making an appearance at all the GB games, men's and women's, seniors.
Love it, and I like the ball as well. That's really cool.
Fimber. Oh yeah.
Do you not see that? It's got the gold Fimber thing on it. That's very, very cool.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's mine.
Oh, that's great.
I love that. I like the colours as well.
So how did that come about?
Okay, so last year we had training, FIBA had training in Sheffield, the GB60s. And the week before that, the GB senior team were playing a European qualifier at the Eagles Arena. and Leroy was there doing his stuff, you know, getting the crowd going and what have you. But they needed the mascot suit, to be at another game, which was down south. So Nicky phoned me up and said, "Can you collect the Leroy suit, bring it to training, and then Nicky's husband Jeff is our team manager, so I'll give the suit to him to take down to the next GB game, which I think was in Manchester after that." So for a few days I had this suit lying around in the house. And
I can just imagine it lying there, and he was just like walking past, like looking at it, like,
yeah, I wonder what it's like to wear that. So I had the brainwave. I thought, right, if I put it on, I put the FIBA strip on and get the FIBA ball and take a few snaps, so we can use that to promote FIBA basketball, and Nicky can use it in some of the ads and stuff. So lo and behold, that's how it came about. But I'll tell you, I would not like to wear that for 2 hours and run around trying to get the crowd going, because it's like claustrophobic as hell.
what's the vision like inside? Can you see much?
It's almost zero. It's just like a small letterbox in front of your eyes, and if there's nothing directly in front of you, you can't see it. It's like nuts.
Keeps just walking like little kids.
That's amazing.
I mean, I had it on for about 2 minutes, and that was enough for me. So for 2 hours, I don't know how the guy didn't get paid enough. If he didn't get paid to run around in that for 2 hours, he's an absolute hero.
Yeah, the Portsmouth Force mascot, we call him Blue. I'll tell you what. Whilst I'm saying this, I'll get a picture up of him to show you. Yeah. He has his own Facebook page now, and there's lots of videos with him online causing mischief. Isn't it so typical? I can't actually find a. Oh, there we go. You see that, Keith?
Ah, yeah.
Like Force Fox is what they.
Oh, he's a fox, right? I'm with you. Yeah.
With the kit on.
Cool.
And so, yeah.
Gets a bit toasty inside.
Gets a bit toasty. So the chap who's inside, literally, he if you put goggles on your eyes for the people listening, that's kind of what he sees. Other than that, it's black. So his vision isn't great. So, like a ball from the court landed on his lap on Saturday, and he said to me, he goes, a ball landed in my hand. I didn't know what it was for, where the ball, it was the game ball, and the ref's like, give me the ball, and he's looking around going, what's going on, and the ref's like, give me the ball, we're playing a game. The ref thinks he's having a joke, having a laugh. He's sitting there thinking, that ref's getting a bit annoyed. I wonder what he's going on about. And then the other ref runs over, grips the ball from him. He's like, oh, that was the game ball. Okay. But yeah, he finds it very challenging as well. But
that's great. I love the fact he's like, I just want to put that on.
Who wouldn't? Who would not?
Got to do that.
Everyone would do it.
Yeah.
So, well, Mark, do you have any questions? I know, have you got your usual Five and Pine coming up soon?
I always have them coming up. Keith, do you support an NBA team?
Kind of. I support
the Orlando Magic. Well done, Keith. Good job.
Orlando Magic, yes. How did they know that?
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Ah, right. Hang on 1 second. Keith supporting your Orlando Magic. Yes.
Someone has to.
Yes.
Now, the only reason is that the first NBA game I ever went to was at the old Amway Arena.
Oh, yeah.
And it was in 2006, and it was against Miami when Shaq had left the Lakers and gone to Miami the year they won the championship. So I got to see Orlando play Miami at the Amway Arena. And then...
Was that where it was called TD? Was that
Yeah, that was the old
TD Waterhouse.
TD Waterhouse.
The new one's called the Amway Centre, I believe.
Yeah.
So the next time we went on holiday, the Amway Centre was built, and we went to see who were they playing? Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it, Mark?
Well, Mavs would have won anyway.
No, they didn't actually.
What?
However, they did go on to win the championship that year.
Oh, 2011, there we go.
So basically, Keith, what you're
Yeah.
saying is whoever you watch when you go to Orlando has won the NBA championship.
So far.
Yeah.
Wow. If you want to go watch another Dallas game this year, that'd be. I'd really appreciate that.
Hey, Cuban might hear this and go get him over.
We need the help.
No, I'm just trying to. Who won it in 20? Where did we go? 2019. Who won it in 2019?
The Lakers.
That was the Lakers
2020.
because that was the bubble one. 2019, 2020. That was the bubble one.
So that is. I mean, I've been to Orlando a few
There's an
times.
asterisk on that. I don't care what they say.
That was the only time I've not seen the NBA champions play when I've been in America. So like I was in LA, went to watch a game there when they won the championship. We were in Miami and who did we watch? It was like I watched Detroit and they won it that year in 2004 maybe. So yeah, Keith, it's your luck is still going. Mine got broken by LeBron. But it was going on for 20 years.
A magic.
I was like, literally, one of these guys is going to win the championship. But when we go to America, we do watch a lot of basketball. Like last time, we watched like 7 or 8 games.
Really?
Yeah.
I have done 2 NBA games in one day.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
2019, booked a trip to New York, having studied the fixtures, and on Black Friday, I think it was, the Brooklyn Nets were playing Minnesota at 12 o'clock on Black Friday, and then at 7:30, the New York Knicks were playing New Orleans Pelicans.
I was thinking they're the only teams that could be nearby unless you had a flight booked. But yeah.
Oh wow, that must be great.
Yeah. I know people who've done the Nets when they were New Jersey Nets and the Knicks. I think they did that.
Yeah, it's just it's a 10-minute subway ride between the 2 stadiums, really.
Ah, that's very cool. And that would have literally been the same time we were out there, actually, because Keith said around
2019.
2019.
Well, October, November 2019, we were in Orlando.
Yeah. Yes, indeedy. But yeah, there were some good games there if you watched that.
But New York,
The only other NBA games I've been to were the ones when they had them in London. You remember?
Yeah.
At the O2.
yeah, we went to watch the Celtics play, and again,
2007.
we watched the Celtics play, and they won the championship that year.
Yep, they did. Yeah. They weren't bad, but we've lost that now to Paris, haven't we? It's not in London anymore.
It doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel the same when you're in the NBA and you're there and you've got all the atmosphere, all the entertainment, all the razzmatazz, and then you see it in London and it's just like the crowd interacts differently.
So that is one of the things that I was really impressed with about watching the BBL and getting into it this year again. Seeing all the fans, like in Newcastle, like in what was the other one? I think it was Plymouth, the Pavilion. And when you see the crowd, and they're really getting into it, and everyone who's there, and they're packing out the stadiums, they're really making noise, and everyone's having a really good time. And you think, oh, okay, didn't really appreciate that was happening on because we haven't got
their team.
Exactly.
And then when they go to say like the O2, it's just like, oh right, here I'm just watching 2 NBA. You don't have that passion.
No.
So I mean, we sat there and it's like, let's go Celtics, let's go, and it was quite
I did not
tame. It was quite tame.
I'm not singing for the Celtics.
But then, let's say you then go down to the Motors Court.
Yep.
2,500. That would probably be louder than it would the O2.
Oh, that'd be
NBA.
definitely. Yeah, that'd be definitely.
Yeah.
Well, we do want to at some point get to go and get to see all the courts, because when we've seen all these arenas and seen all the atmospheres, it just looks so much fun.
I want to go to the Eagle's Nest and go to reception, have my picture taken there, like pointing down, like where Keith was, like that.
Yeah.
Then I want to go to the scorer's table and be pointing down like that, having a photo there.
Yeah.
And then,
are you not going to get a picture with Keith laying in the spot?
yeah, that would be even better. And then we're going to go and sit wherever Keith sits, because he sits behind the one of the baskets somewhere.
Oh yes, yeah.
So we're going to go sit there.
What is your favourite position to watch a game from, Keith? If you could have a choice, would it be centre court? Would it be where you're sat? Or
Well, I think the ideal place is centre court on the side, but to be honest, there's no bad seats in the Newcastle Arena. It's all pretty good vision all the way around.
Yeah.
So unless you're right behind the backboard, which is probably the worst seats, if you're off to the either side on the ends, is fine. Anywhere down the side is great.
How does the seating work with that, Keith? Like, is it like, I mean, like my experience would be at the moment National League Div 1 and Div 2 and Div 3, and it's like you pay, you go in, you sit wherever you want to sit. Is it similar, or have you got a seat?
If you book a ticket online, you get to choose your seat. So you'll get a seating chart with all the dots on. So obviously the red dots are taken, and the ones that are free, you just tap which one you want or which two you want, and you pick your own seat.
And for someone who hasn't been to a Newcastle game, is there anything you'd recommend to them? If someone's listening to this now and goes, oh, you know what, I want to go and check out one of those.
Well, if you've never been, I would just go. Doesn't matter where you sit, just go and sample the atmosphere.
Do they have any special food? Any special food there? Do they have anything there, or concierge, or anything that you'd recommend?
I don't think I've ever had any of the food from the concierges, but they sell the normal hot dogs and pizza and nachos, and there's a bar and stuff like that. So yeah, it's good.
I think next time Keith goes, he's going to have people going up to him saying, "You're on the Talking Basketball podcast."
Yeah, and then can you go and pose in your spot, Keith's spot? That's what they're going to want. Want a picture in Keith's spot? That's exactly what they want it.
Oh, dude, that'd be great.
No, that would be really good. Yeah, that's pretty cool to know that there is not so just like not a bad seat in the house, but some places I would imagine you want to sit in certain places. When we went and sat in a couple of seats, we got some really high seats in one of the Orlando games, and although you've got a big top-down view, you don't get the atmosphere. As soon as you went to the lower bowl, it changed everything, and there was atmosphere. You were part of the game. You could hear it all going on.
Well, even worst case, like with the Orlando one, what I would always do if I wasn't lower bowl, you can get an upper bowl seat, and then you go to the Budweiser bar. So do you know on one end behind a basket you've got the Budweiser bar? You can go there, get a drink, but you can. It's standing room only. But if you're there early enough, you've literally got a bar there. You've got your row, like a standing table where you can put your drink and a burger or whatever. But then you're at the top of the lower bowl. But that's better than being
it's a nice view.
seats, I think. And I would say the atmosphere by the Budweiser bar in the Orlando Arena is amazing. That's great. It's just loud. Just loud.
Just don't get a drink or anything from the top, because that was awful. That was.
But I do like the fact that they've got the car park now right. Like I can't remember, the parking seemed to be a bit of a pain in the balls with the TD Waterhouse.
Yeah.
Where you'd park somewhere and you'd be walking to the stadium, whereas this one there's a huge car park. You go to it and then you walk like I don't know how to explain it, like
it's just
an air bridge.
it was the air bridge and the multi-story.
Like an air bridge over into the stadium. So yeah.
Is it all park on site in the Virtue Centre?
There is quite a big car park outside, and the street parking fairly close to it as well. So
that must get pretty busy if you've got like 2,500 people rocking up.
Yeah, it's pretty busy on a Friday night.
It sounds amazing.
So what is Newcastle's next game?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah.
I've not looked.
I
That
always
was
like to
all the
stitch
stuff
him up a little
I've
bit.
not looked at that.
Keith, do you
It's
have
Manchester.
do you have a prediction for that, Keith?
Is that
For
at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, Manchester at home is the next game. Yeah.
What's your prediction, Keith?
Well, on paper, Newcastle should win, shouldn't they? But we'll wait and see how consistent they are.
What's your thoughts on the season so far, in general, for the BBL
Fairly
league?
close, apart from one obvious team.
Yeah.
So London Lions are just running away with things at the minute, probably because of the team they've put together with all the money that they have. And then there's a big gap between the rest of the league, really. But the rest of the league's fairly close, I think.
Yeah, I think there was 3 or 4 teams that were almost joint, but they were just splitting hairs, and then they kept swapping positions over the last few games.
Yeah, I think last week it was between second place and 6th place. It was 4-point difference.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got like Bristol, Cheshire, Newcastle, Leicester.
Plymouth.
They're all chopping changing, and then Plymouth and Surrey were chopping changing with Manchester at the bottom. They're all cycling through.
Yeah.
It's sort of like there's 2 things all cycling at the same time, but within 2 games you could flip right up to the top again. And
Yeah.
that it's. I mean, Paul called it the other day. He said, "That's it, league's over."
Yeah, I did, Keith. I said season's over. I said, give the trophy to London Lions now. But then they go and lose. I said to him, I bet they lose next week. Now I've said that. But I still think you're over a quarter, under a third of the way through the season. They've lost 1 game. Okay, I think I said to you, I think they're going to lose 3 or 4 games this season.
Yeah, it's 36 games roughly. They're 12, 13 games in. They're literally a third of the way through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've not looked at the stats of those games, that game yet, because I wanted to see if there's any big players missing, or because it's losing 20 after beating everyone is. I was like, what's just happened there?
Well, apparently it wasn't a full squad, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, they didn't win.
Yeah.
So, chalk it up to how you want it. I think it'd be good for the league if a few more people got some consistent wins against them now. And it gives all the other teams more momentum. I think it makes it more exciting for everyone watching. Otherwise, you just go one team, and then there's 9 others who are competing for pride. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Well, Keith, I mentioned before about questions, and one of my questions is, who would you give a ball to take that clutch shot? And you go, I'm going to give it to them. They're going to take that shot.
The
safe
shot.
hands.
The shot.
The shot.
Maybe that's the question. It should be the shot question.
The shot question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
Well,
player.
I mean, I guess the boring answer that everybody says is you've got to give it to Michael Jordan, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, 90% of the people that you've asked that question must have said that, have they?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
There's been a few, but yeah, that's not far off. Yeah, maybe about 90.
Yeah, it's a strong 80-90% of them.
Yeah.
The only other ones, Allen Iverson turned up once.
Kobe.
Mm.
I think
Bird. Someone said they take their shot themselves.
Yeah. But did Bird get in, or is it just? I think Bird might have gotten in there.
I need to do the.
But other than that, that's it. And MJ, obviously.
Yeah.
And we've
No,
probably
it's
had,
predictable,
20?
but probably, I think that's who I'll go for. Yeah.
MJ.
Seems pretty safe, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What about your 5 and Pine? You can pick 5 players and 1 on the bench.
Mark, we need a jingle. 5 and Pine.
5 and Pine. We'll make a
We
jingle.
need a jingle for that. Like, I literally now write down 1 to 5 and then Pine. 5 and Pine. It's a great name.
I can't say Pine too much because Keith was laying on the Pine last time. So
Keith, you're feeling okay? Yeah, everything's okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good.
I'm not in the
You all right,
arena,
Mark?
so I'm okay.
I'm good.
Right, we're all
I've
good.
got no PTSD. I'm good.
Right, we're all good.
Starting 5. So I would go with Allen Iverson at point guard.
Oh,
Lovely.
Jordan's got to be a shooting guard. And then the 2 forwards, I would probably go with LeBron and Pippen. And I would have Shaq in the center. And then sixth man, just to throw a bit of a curveball, I always thought he was my favourite sixth man when he was in the league, and that's Jamal Crawford.
Crawford.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Crawford is in. He is in. I think Pippin, he's not come up before.
He hasn't.
Which has always surprised me.
Yeah.
That's
Same thing with Shaq. Shaq's not come up that much either.
No, he was considered on mine, but yeah, that's a strong team.
That is as strong as it's going to get.
What's quite funny, actually, I'm just looking at that. I know with the All-Star game, it's actually gone back to East and West now for this season.
Has it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're going to do East versus West. They did a very sneaky announcement on that.
I thought they were going to abolish it altogether at some point. Have they not talked anymore about that?
No, I think everyone hopes they were after the last few years where it's just everyone switched off.
It's too friendly, isn't it?
Yeah, whereas they want to go back to East versus West. And on paper, you think, well, the West is the strongest. But I was just looking at this now. Iverson, Jordan, LeBron, Pippen, Shaq. Other than Crawford, if you take it out of the equation, those 5 players all played in the East. You think Shaq in Miami, Shaq in Orlando. Yes, he played in LA, but he also played Boston and I believe, Phoenix.
And
Miami.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Miami,
Cleveland.
Orlando. Yeah, absolutely. Cleveland as well. Obviously, Pippen, Jordan goes without saying. LeBron, Cleveland, and Iverson obviously in Phillies. So that's actually pretty much a strong East team.
Yeah,
I would say rather than even a mixed.
Yeah,
That's a great team.
Yeah,
that's a great choice.
That would be an absolute headache, wouldn't it? And I think they would play together pretty well.
Yeah,
that's a good one, Keith. That's a very nice one to end on. Oh, any questions for Keith?
Am I pushing any buttons here?
Yeah.
What the same one?
Whatever you want to push.
Oh, I don't know. It's quite heavy, isn't it?
Well, just put the top left.
There you go. Right, here we go.
That's bottom.
Well, Keith, thank you very much for joining us today, and I'm sure all the listeners who tune in to this episode are going to enjoy it, especially know your story and that's how we started talking and stuff like that, and it was just it's human, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And if everyone can club together and ask Paul Blake to get a commemorative plaque,
yes,
for you on the floor, just near that announcer's table. That's what we need to do. Paul, if you're going to listen to this, which obviously you will at some point, just get that commemorative plaque, put it down there for Keith.
Yeah.
Here almost lieth Keith.
FIBA GB number 60. If I suppose if there's anyone interested in sponsoring FIBA GB, I tell you what, if you email UK Basketball, what is it again? UK Basketball Podcast at gmail.com.
That's the one.
UK Basketball Podcast at gmail.com. Email that and I will forward that email over to Nikki or Keith, whoever. So
just touch on that quickly. So that means that someone listening to this could actually sponsor the GB team.
Oh, of course they can. Yeah. Well, Mark, I thought you might.
Yeah, no, I know.
I thought you might do it through the Talking Basketball podcast.
Well, we could do that, but it'd have to make a mascot of me with my face, and then Keith has to get in it.
Hey, I haven't got a card with me, but
once in a mascot
great logo.
suit for me, I'm not doing it.
Keith, you've got a taste for it now. I can tell. You've got a taste for that.
Hey, Mark, you could do a big sponsorship and say, I'm only going to do this sponsorship if Keith is the mascot for one game.
That would be amazing. Yes, absolutely. But no, that's worth knowing. Anyone who's listening out there, if you do genuinely want to do to sponsor, it's not just your local league teams, which obviously if you aren't supporting, support them, or your national league teams, obviously get involved, but you can actually support the national team at lots of different age levels. And I think they would all definitely appreciate the support just as much as
definitely
the money, but the support's just as important.
UK Basketball Podcast at gmail.com.
Absolutely.
Right,
Keith, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And it goes without saying, if you haven't listened to all of our episodes previously, go back and check them out. We've got like 33, 34 episodes now, and we've got lots and lots more people lined up, Paul. How many have we got at the moment lined up?
Too many to say, mate, but we got
too many.
quite a
He's
few.
multitasking, he's getting scared.
Yeah, we got a few.
Anyway, I've been Mark, he's been Paul. Thank you so much to Keith, and thank you everyone for listening. Tune in next time.
I would just like to say a huge shout out to the Newcastle Eagles chairman, Paul Blake, for not having any badminton lines at the Eagles' Nest at the Virtue Motors Court. That is amazing. No badminton lines. Thank you.
Your hatred for badminton just runs deep, doesn't it?
It's a terrible sport.